In today's video, I'm going to break it down for you what the best diet is for women over 50, particularly if you're going through the menopause or the perimenopause, and this also applies if you're over 40. Hello YouTube fam and welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, my name's Melissa Neal and this is my lovely friend Frida, and my channel is all about helping women over 40 and over 50 get into great shape through exercise and diet. Going through the menopause is really tough, isn't it? And I understand that because I'm going through the perimenopause myself. I'm still getting a menstrual cycle, but I understand all the symptoms and it can be really frustrating. You know, I get that brain fog, night sweats, and I know some of you will be experiencing some of the other symptoms like hot flushes and extreme fatigue. And then the other thing that we have is gaining this body fat, don't we, that just appears from nowhere that we've never had before. Just because we're over 40 or over 50, it doesn't mean that we don't want to look good. We want to look our best. And I believe that women now in their 50s, we've got higher expectations, haven't we, of how we want to look. And you know, we want to stay in great shape. We don't expect to look like a teenager or a model, but we just want to make the best of what we've got, don't we? So in this video, I'm going to break down the best diet. I have covered exercise before. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I recommend strength training to women over 40 and over 50. And I'll link a video in the description which tells you how to go about strength training for fat loss. Let's get to it. Let's talk about what the best diet is for menopause and women over 50. The first thing I'm going to talk about is macros before I get to calories, because I think this is probably the thing that everyone gets wrong. They're just not getting the balance right. And guess what? It's normally around their protein intake. So I recommend, and what's made a massive difference for me and how I've kind of transformed my body, at least 1 gram of protein per pound in body weight. And I know most of you watching this will be based in the USA and you'll think, oh, well, I don't work in grams, but that's the best way of calculating it. Then you just convert it into ounces. To give you an idea, I normally weigh around sort of 116 pounds, but I'm actually having way above that in terms of my protein. So if you can take your protein intake even higher than that 1 gram in every pound in body weight, that would be even better. There's a number of reasons that we take our protein intake quite high, and that's because it's a really good fat burner. You also need it for strength training, which I recommend, and it does actually keep you satiated. Examples of really good lean protein: chicken breast, white fish, tofu, soya mince, pulses like beans and lentils. That's the protein intake that you need to be thinking about. Next, it's your carbohydrates, and I'm actually going to sort of talk about the amount of carbohydrate as well as the types of carbohydrate. I recommend that you're taking in at least 100 grams of carbohydrate, and again you can sort of convert that into ounces, and you can use one of those apps like MyFitnessPal. If you're strength training, you actually need more carbohydrate than that, and I recommend you do strength train. So you're going to need 150 grams of carbohydrate to 200 grams of carbohydrate, give or take, you know, a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. The kind of carbohydrates that I'm talking about, the best ones are potatoes. Potatoes have really good fat burning properties, and believe it or not, that's white potatoes, because everybody thinks sweet potatoes are better. They're much of a muchness really. You can have either or. And then rice, either brown rice or white rice. Oats are fantastic because they've also got protein in them, oats, and they keep you absolutely satiated. And I've actually started having them as a kind of savoury add on into my lunch rather than sort of rice, because I just find it really keeps me satisfied. The other carbohydrates you can look at, bread and pasta. The potatoes, rice and oats are really the preferable ones. Keep the bread and pasta to a minimum, so a little bit of what you fancy doesn't really do you any harm as long as you're fitting it in within your macros. And now I'm going to talk about fats. Fats are really important for menopausal women. Why? Because it helps balance our hormones. So good fats, I'm talking about oily fish, which are high in omega-3s, olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oils, nuts, nut butters, avocados. All of those are really great fats, and you're looking at around approximately 50 grams of fats that you need to include in your diet. If you've got that balance of protein, carbohydrates and fats, I would say that you can't go far wrong with that. And now I'm going to talk about calories. I would recommend that you don't take your calories any lower than 1500 calories. Why? Because what we're trying to do is build our metabolism so we burn fat more easily. And if we take our calories too low, it actually screws our metabolism and it really messes it up. And it's really difficult to pull it back from there. What people usually need to do is actually reverse diet out of a calorie deficit when they're really in a low calorie deficit. So if you're talking about something like 1000 calories or 1300 calories, which I've heard of women doing, and then they're still gaining weight, it's just not a good idea in the long term, because what happens when you get back onto your maintenance calories is your body's not going to be very good at burning fat because it's been used to those really low calories. In the long term, that's not going to help you. Also, if we have really low calories, we can be prone to binge eating. You're really going to need that kind of cheat meal on the weekends, and I've done this. And then because your calories are really low, you know, I've gone down to 1300 calories. I've just gone wild when it's time to have a cheat meal. So then you're undoing all that kind of dieting that you've had, and then you're going on this binge diet treadmill, which is just really bad for you. In our 40s and 50s, and when we're going through the menopause, there are some things that I recommend you don't eat. That's don't take in too much sugar. Sugar's really quite bad for you. It's quite addictive. It's high in calories. I would recommend you just cut sugar out altogether if you can. And then alcohol is the same thing, because alcohol has sugar in it. And you know, when we're older, we can't get away with eating the things that we did in our younger days. That's a fact. We've got to try harder at it. And so the best way of doing that is kind of managing what we eat. And then processed food is another one. The processed foods that you buy in the store or the supermarket, some of the meats, you know, like bacon, and some of the pre-prepared ready meals. And it's really hard for your body to digest. When we're going through the menopause and we've got a number of other factors going on, just having that whole food, healthy diet is really going to relieve some of those menopause symptoms. My symptoms aren't as bad as some of my counterparts, and I do put that down to having a really healthy lifestyle. And the other thing I would recommend we cut out altogether is fruit juices, sugary drinks, and those lattes. They're laden with calories. They're not doing you any favours. And if you want to go out and meet up for coffee with friends, just go for an Americano or a black coffee. It doesn't have any calories in it at all. We've covered diet for the menopause today, and I'd really love to hear your comments. Please do comment below about any other topics that you'd like me to cover. And I know some of you have asked me about supplements, so I'm going to do a video on supplements very, very soon. If you like this video, please do give it the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to get more videos like this, and the bell notifications so you're able to watch them when they first come out. And do give me a follow on Instagram there, because I actually do daily updates with lots of tips and information for staying in shape over 40 and over 50. And now I'm also on TikTok, and I'm going to put a video up here which I hope you find useful.